Welcome back to Wine and Dine, the show about great food, great wine, and entertaining. I'm your host, Mark DeWolf. So in today's tasty edition, we're exploring the cuisine of the Mediterranean. In fact, over the next few weeks, we'll be exploring different parts of it. You know, the Mediterranean Sea offers a broadly similar climate to many of the countries that surround it, but you have unique cultural differences and histories. You know, there are 21 countries that touch the Mediterranean. So today, you know, we're going to really explore the Eastern Mediterranean. I'm really happy to have Chef Michael Toker here of Smyrna restaurant in Halifax. I've been a fan of Michael's for a long time. I didn't actually always know I was a fan of him in particular because he's had some really great restaurants, and I've happened to give a couple of them amazing reviews. And so he's been working here in the industry for 25 years. Started with his own restaurant based on Turkish cuisine, which is where he's from, but has evolved, and now we end up in Smyrna, which I think is one of the little gems of Halifax. You know, if you look online in the reviews, I mean, it is one of Halifax's most loved and most admired restaurants. So, Michael, tell us a little bit about coming to Canada. You came here not to be a chef, right?
I came here not to be a chef. The main purpose was I came here with the study visa. I was studying in San Marzano University, which is a fantastic place to study. And then, so I ended up deciding on going into culinary adventure because I saw that there is a big gap on Mediterranean cuisine. The other restaurant was like running pretty nice, but I find that like there's a really need for a nice Mediterranean cuisine because you're next to the water and the ocean and lots of tourists coming around. So I thought that it will be a very great idea if I started up a restaurant here. Yeah.
So you've gone through a few different restaurants. We landed in Smyrna. So, is it fair to say that Smyrna has kind of an Eastern Mediterranean focus?
Yes, Eastern Mediterranean focus. You got is this perfectly correct. And then we go from, you know, Greek islands to Turkey, Turkish coast to Levantan, even to Lebanon, some from Cyprus. So I try to cover all the area. That's why I didn't name it a Turkish restaurant. I try to name it like Smyrna Mediterranean restaurant. So we just don't focus on one type of country. We just want to focus on the whole area of the Eastern Mediterranean.
Yeah, so it's amazing, and so it encompasses a lot of different cultures. So we're actually today not doing something Turkish, but doing something Greek.
Yes.
So we're going to do a Greek fisherman stew. So tell me, I love the story of what is a Greek fisherman stew.
Greek fisherman stew actually is one of the most delicious stews you can ever eat. The reason is like it's very simple. First of all, what's happened is like you know, all the fishermen, they work really hard, they catch the fish. And then, of course, they get hungry on the boat. So all they have is like a pot and some fish that they cannot sell in the market because they don't have any market value. So they try to choose the ones they cannot sell, which doesn't mean that they're not going to taste good. It tastes still amazing. It's just the size is not the right. So what they have is like maybe today we have a sea bass from Mediterranean. It actually came from Greece. But I also try to make it use some kind of fusion. I wanted to use some stuff from Atlantic Ocean. We got the Digby scallops, and I got some mussels and some shrimps. So just today's catch.
Yeah, so it sounds like an amazing thing. The way you described it for me in the past too is basically cooking in a pot and literally using the seawater to kind of make the broth. So we're gonna do it slightly. No, we're not going to the water or to the ocean today, but let's walk through how do we start this off.
Well, we start off with a nice olive oil that we use to get our caramelizing our onion and garlic first.
So I assume in the Mediterranean, obviously, what a wonderful climate for growing olive trees. So I assume rarely are you using other oils, I assume.
Well, generally it's olive oil, yeah. I mean, we use butter, of course, but I mean, like olive oil is the main thing. You can find it anywhere. So
okay. Yeah. So what's step one to make this?
Step one is like we're gonna cook our onions and garlic in the beginning. So we're just gonna. Is this one working?
It's on.
Oh, okay, you're already on. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got fairly big hunks of garlic.
Yes. The reason I've been trying to do it, you know, I don't want to make it too perfect. So we just have to imagine this is done by a one of the fishermen in the boat. Probably the boat is going back and forward. Probably he has a knife in his hand. He doesn't have a cutting board. He just keep putting everything what he gets in the boat.
So yeah, so we can't. You don't have to be super fine in your cooking.
No, it's just absolutely not. You just can just cut it as how you like it. It can be bigger. It could be smaller. It just give the authenticity of the food.
So while we got these sweating off, tell us why Smyrna? When did it open? Where is it? And kind of why was it the next stage of your culinary career?
Well, I opened Smyrna in 2020, and then right after the first wave left, and then there was no COVID-19 cases going on in Nova Scotia. So I thought to myself, because we never had experienced such a kind of pandemic, so I thought it was all over. So this restaurant was already there, which they shut down their doors, and then the landlord keep calling me because it was my old customer. So this will be perfect for you. So I was keep saying no. But I went to the place, I just fall in love with the colors, and then everything was perfect, and had a nice patio for the summer. And I say I should do this. And then the second reason I really wanted to do was I wanted to make this, connect all the countries on Eastern Mediterranean, because anywhere you go, you just have it it says Lebanese cuisine, Turkish cuisine, let's say Greek cuisine, whatever it is. So I just want to connect all the countries together because they're all related to each other, as you know. So that was the main reason I wanted to open this place, and I want to be a tourist destination. When people come to Halifax, I want them to experience, I went to this place, it was amazing. We can find all kinds of flavor from Mediterranean, and that was the main reason.
And I've had the pleasure of dining there, so I know how good the food is. But I also say that the atmosphere is really cozy. Those that have been in the dining scene here for a long time will remember it was Fit at one point.
It was Fit, yes.
With Dennis Johnson. But you've created a really warm, cozy atmosphere, and the kitchen has a charcoal grill, so I mean it's just when you're there, it's warm, comforting, but you have these wonderful aromas emanating from the kitchen. It's really a truly spectacular place. So when we after the sautéing the onions, we're going to pretend that we've got there. So what we're looking for, I assume, is just them to be slightly translucent, soft.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
so we're going to pretend we're there, and then go to the next stage. So what do we add next?
Okay, we're going to add the garlic now, and same with the garlic too.
And
enhance the flavor.
Right, and we just don't want it too long, right? We don't want it to burn, right?
No, we don't want it to burn, and you can use a wooden spoon here, and then you can just spread it around a little bit to make sure. And while we're doing that, what I like to do is I like to add my salt and pepper.
Okay.
It just enhances the flavors.
Yeah. So you're a fan. So you season as you go.
Yes, exactly. I'm just using.
Because a lot of people just do it right at the end, but I've always been familiar with just as we build.
Yeah, exactly. This is something I saw from my mom when she's cooking when I was growing up, and then she always once she puts the onions and the garlic, she always adds a little bit of salt and pepper. So I tried it both ways. Believe me or not, it changes the whole texture.
Next stage is
the celery.
Okay.
So let's say you don't have celery at home and you get leek, you can absolutely use a leek. This is just what they find in the boat, what they brought with them. So there's no specific, recipe for it. At the end of the day, it's your philosophy. You can do whatever you like.
Well, obviously, I'm not getting the sous chef job at Smyrna because I hadn't actually turned on the burner. But now we have our celery, onions, and garlic cooking away. So what's next step?
The next step, we get some carrots and some potatoes. We're just going to add it in.
And then do we season at this point too, or?
I will leave the seasoning right after I put the San Marzano tomatoes. The reason I use San Marzano tomatoes in North America is very nearest to the Greek or Turkish tomatoes, the acidity-wise. So this kind of a puree that you can buy anywhere, which is, we're just going to add a little bit. You can use just regular tomatoes too. That's all.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
You need some water.
And then we need some water just to mix it up. Well, at this point, all we got to do is we're kind of like poaching the seafood.
Okay.
And then we can just gently just place it on top of the mixture we have here. And we're just gonna let it sit.
Yeah, and so once we get the seafood in, how long till we have?
Oh, like the mussels take like 4 or 5 minutes. The scallops and shrimps are also like 4 or 5. And let's say like an 8 minutes for the fish, depending on how thick you cut it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just let it sit in there, and then you will just see that it start to get soft and nice. And especially if you're using the shrimp, you will see the color is changing. So that gives you the idea of, and our mussels are opening up. That means you're ready to go.
Okay, well let's add in. So,
Yeah,
now
so I'm just gonna add
what are we adding in?
This is a Mediterranean sea bass, came all the way from Greece that we're gonna use. I just choose this fish. You don't have to choose, any kind of white fish will go. And then the reasons like trying to make it more authentic taste today.
Yeah, sure.
So what their experience.
And if you just say you can't source this, like any,
You can use cod, you can use mackerel, you can use whatever you like, any fish you like. It doesn't say whatever you catch that day. Let's say that.
That's okay. That's right. So if we go out in the in the boat and catch whatever you can.
Yeah.
And then
just put it in there. That's it. Now I'm adding the scallops and the shrimps. Beautiful scallops, by the way.
those,
Yeah, from Digby.
What beautiful. So, and then do we cover the pan or not cover?
We will cover the pan. And then it's kind of like, you know, steaming it, poaching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we can cover it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the mussels right at the end.
I'm going to get the top. You keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah, just wait a little bit. You can use your wooden spoon again, just to get some of the flavors on top. Just a little bit. Right before we put the mussel, we put some more salt and pepper to it. And also don't forget, if you like spicy, a little spicy, you can add some spice to it, like, you know, red pepper flakes. Today we're just going to use like salt and pepper. And at the end we're going to finish with the lemon juice. And then if you like, after you finish with lemon juice, you can just let the lemon sit in there. If you like more acidity. So we can just close that now. Yeah.
All right, so we'll cover that up, let that go. Then we're going to add the mussels in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So come right back and we'll be finishing it off. Okay, so we're almost done. So what's left to add?
Just adding the mussels at the end.
So again, always be careful. Check your mussels before you start cooking with them. Make sure they're tight and close. And this is, you know, this is such a wonderful dish. It's it's simple, but it's the flavors, you can start to smell it. I mean, it's just like a very simplified version of bouillabaisse too, you know, where. And talking to Michael too, if you could use whole fish and start with the fish and kind of letting some of the flavor coming out of the fish to create its own kind of fish broth. So easy to make, and I can imagine this on a kind of cold January night, you know, family around the table, super simple. You don't have, and really uncomplicated, and I like dishes where you don't have a lot of cleanup, so you can just put that on the table with a hunk of bread, and you've got a pretty amazing meal. So just squeeze the lemon.
Squeeze the lemon, and add it in.
There you go.
And for the last, we're gonna add our nice parsley there, and it sits where it sits.
Cool. So we're going to let those mussels open up and we'll come right back and show you the final dish. Well, they're plated up. Not much left to do, but give this a try. So I'm actually going to take a piece of bread and dunk it in the broth. You know, tomato comes through, but there's it's not a, you know, there's a richness, but without being heavy to it. It's so. And the fish, the bream, just melts in your mouth. This is a great meal to have, you know, in the winter with family and friends. Or, my God, I could just see myself in front of a fire with a bowl of this in front of me and just kind of forgetting about the world. So, you know, I want to thank Chef Michael Toker from Smyrna. It's if you haven't been, Dresden Row, Halifax, really cozy, really comfortable, and I guarantee the food is unbelievable. So come right back, and we'll see you in a week or two on another episode of Wine and Dined.